Hey everyone, Captain Amazing here, and today I'm going to talk about scouting. If you're familiar with my defense, I go with the fleet defense and take everything on offense. But I wanted to do a little case study of why you should scout your opponent and what it's going to do for you. So let's jump into the game. All right, so my opponent today is GAC. I did scout him, so we are in the attack phase. Yesterday I did scout him. I did have a slight GP advantage. He did have one more GL than me, but I had a fleet advantage. Normally for an account like this, I would go heavy fleets because depending on how they change their defense or what they bring on defense and what they take on offense. Because let's say they take Leia, JML, SOKR on offense, and they put Jabba and Rey on defense. I don't have enough in my account to take down 3G, even 3GLs, and still bring an offense that's like that can punch way up. And it's just because I have to field so many teams in Kyber, and I have the fleet advantage, so my account plays towards that advantage. And same thing if you play towards ground. There's a lot of different strategies. This isn't a strategy about that. This is about scouting. So I look at what they have in their account, what advantages I have, essentially. But I do that normally through swgoh.gg. So let's go over here and let's bring that over here. So if you go to your profile, you look at your what's going on here, right? So you go to GAC bracket. You can go here from the top, or you can come here to the side. So you look at GAC bracket, and I have my opponent here, GAC. So you can look at what they have compared to yours. It gives you stats and everything. So I click on GAC over here, and I'm going to look at their history. So I'm going to see generally what are they doing, how are they playing, what kind of defense they set. So you want to go towards 5v5. If you just did 3v3, or if it's the first week of a new one, like if it's just starting 3v3, you're going to have to look at over a month's data, and that can vary. So it's not very reliable. So when I scout the first week of Grand Arena, I take it with a grain of salt because they could get some more things in their account within a whole month, and that can completely change their defense. So if I look, I saw like very low numbers here, and what that says to me is this guy was turtling. So I looked at the first week, and I was like, I'm not getting much data here. So they took out a JML here, and then here he took out a few teams. Well, he just like really sucks at attacking. So I got that right off the bat. Like, this guy is not a very good attacker. But not a lot here. I could look at these teams he used for offense and kind of gauge what he has there. But there wasn't a lot. So if I go to round 2, same thing, just not a ton of data here. And not a ton of data on their defense. So I know they put down Jabba, they put down an Iden, and General Grievous and Gas. Not really enough to really make a decision here. And then I go to round 3, and there's two things here, and you're like, 10 and 1770, and you're probably thinking, oh, like this guy has. And this is the match that gave me all the information I needed for offense and defense. So let's look at their defense. Now we have a greater picture of what's going on here. So we have Jabba, JML, Gas, General Grievous, Leia, Rey with Holocron. This General Grievous has the level 6 Separatist. This is a really strong team, by the way. Requires pretty much a GL or Malgus or something really strong to take it out. Iden, Padme, Geos, Ewoks, Captain Phasma, and then some garbage fleets. So the fleets aren't a worry, but I looked and I was like, this guy puts almost all his GLs on defense. That's 4 GLs, especially with Raycron and Leia. My Bane can take out one of these, but maybe I could lose. And then with my current strategy, I have to full clear. And if I don't have enough to get through like the Leia or Rey, then I lose against this account. So, and because I'm pretty much give them the ground. I don't put complete horrible characters there, but I give them a lot of my ground. And sometimes I get hold, sometimes I don't, but I never stonewall them. The defenses aren't strong enough. But I noticed like, hey, this guy struggled against Raycron because he only brings in SOKR without a Datacron. So what that told me is this player, if I put my Rey on that bottom front wall, they probably won't be able to beat it. And that changes it to a 2-zone clear. Because if I hold that bottom front wall and then I hold fleets, then I just have to clear 2 zones to win. And that gives me a lot of flexibility because I'm confident Bane can beat Leia and Rey, but not Rey and Leia. So if they put Rey on one zone and Leia on the other, then I know for certain I could beat one of those and then clear the zone behind it. So if they put, if I want to go ships, I can go ships. If I want to go south, I can go south. And I have a very, very high chance of winning with just that 2 zone without having to rely on full clearing them, which makes it a lot easier. So let's look at what actually happened in the Grand Arena. So this was my plan. This is what I theorized. So if you look here, they don't have the juice to take down a Leviathan or even an Executor. He did take his 6-star Executor down, but I don't think he really could win that mirror match. And then just as I predicted, he failed on the Rey with Holdocron because he doesn't have a strong enough team to defeat it. I was able to full clear them. So I went in, I one-shot literally their entire defense. I wasn't expecting it, but it's a nice to know that I could. This was more of an even matchup than I'm used to, but very, very easy, very, very clean. 1832. It's not as clean as it could possibly be, but like he set a good defense. A lot of his opponents wasn't able to get through all this, and I was, but it did give me that flexibility. If I would have dropped the Leia battle or if I would have dropped the Rey battle, then I could have, because if I did, depending on how messy it was, like if I would have dropped Rey and I didn't clean up enough, or if I would have dropped Leia and I didn't clear off any of the sides and it was preloaded, then I'm pretty much done. Like I can't win against that. It would just, the match would be over. But like, if I cleared these bottom zones, I still win. And that's why I scouted. So normally I scout and I see like, hey, they put kind of like a mixed defense and either they can beat my ships or they can't. And then I'll change the composition of Leviathan. So if I know that they usually take the mirror, I'll put a composition that's strong against the mirror. If I know they take a Chimera, I'll put a composition that is strong against the that. So same thing with the Executor. Usually I just leave triple attacker. Triple attacker in my opinion is the best. But you can put a standard lineup, but it gets beat really easily with Finalizer if you know what you're doing. So I would say scout your opponent, look what they have, see what they're doing, look at their, not only just their defense, but their offense. And then also for yourself, like if you can, change up your defenses, change up what you're doing, leave them guessing, because if they guess wrong and they bring something that they think is enough to clear you, but if you mix it up and you put something down, because if my opponent would have scouted me, they would have saw like, oh, this guy puts a paper defense. So I just have to hold and then I can one of these and then I can full clear him. But he probably wasn't expecting me to take my Rey that I always bring on offense and putting it on defense and getting that sneaky hold and then stonewalling him. It really didn't matter in the end. I could have just like let him go and clear my 3 zones and I would have beat him purely out of efficiency and also him not clearing my fleets. But like this is just odds. You're playing the odds. The game is designed so that you have a 50% chance to win and a 50% chance to lose. And then the higher you go, the tougher your opponents are. So if I find a way to maximize my banners, maximize the likelihood of winning, then I'm going to win more battles over the long run than if I don't scout and if I don't make a plan. So you should have a solid strategy of how you're going to win. And farming goes into that as well. But also you have to scout so that you can maximize your strengths and shore up your weaknesses. Because like right now, like he had a ground advantage to me, but I still won on the ground, and then I full cleared him on the ground and the air. So even though he had the advantage to me, I would over me, like through better mods, better datacrons, better farming strategy, scouting, I was able to defeat this opponent. And just like understanding mechanics and being able to like actually play the game. So, you know, bottom line is scout your opponent. Don't set the same defense every time if you can help it. And then take advantage of your enemy's weaknesses so that you can win more grand arenas. So if you like this type of content, go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And take care.